Good evening friends. Today we will cover lecture 3 of hemodynamic system, that is shock. We will discuss about definition, pathogenesis and stages of shock. The learning objectives of today's lecture are definition of shock, different type of shock, description of hypovolumic, cardiogenic, neurogenic, vasogenic and septic shock, stages of shock and pathogenesis of shock. Shock. It is also known as cardiovascular collapse. What is the definition of shock? It is defined as systemic hypoperfusion caused by reduction either in cardiac output or effective circulatory blood volume. The end result of shock are hypotension followed by impaired tissue perfusion and cellular hypoxia. Initially, there is reversible cell injury, but later on the injury is irreversible and it may cause death of the patient. These are the type of shock: cardiogenic, hypovolumic, septic, neurogenic and anaphylactic shock. So let us discuss all the types of shock one by one. First is cardiogenic shock. There is myocardial pump failure. The causes are intrinsic or extrinsic. In intrinsic cause, there may be myocardial damage like in myocardial infarction, ventricular arrhythmia. In extrinsic cause, the reason may be cardiac tamponade or obstruction by outflow like pulmonary embolism. Next is hypovolumic shock. There is loss of blood or plasma volume. The causes are either hemorrhage, fluid loss from burns, trauma, vomiting or diarrhea. Septic shock. In septic shock, there is mainly it is caused by gram-negative infection, so also called as endotoxic shock. There is systemic microbial infection. It may also cause by gram-positive or fungal infection. Neurogenic shock. It occurs in anesthetic accident or spinal cord injury. So as a result, there is loss of vascular tone and peripheral pooling of blood. Anaphylactic shock. It is caused by immunoglobulin E hypersensitivity reaction. There is systemic vasodilatation and increased vascular permeability. So let us discuss all the type of shock in detail. First is hypovolumic shock. Here the blood volume or plasma volume is decreased, so perfusion of tissue is altered. It refers to a medical or surgical condition and causes multiple organ failure due to inadequate tissue perfusion. The causes are trauma, hemorrhage, vomiting, diarrhea or burns. Basically, there is activation of four major physiological systems. These are hematological, cardiovascular, renal and neuroendocrine system. In hematological system, there is activation of coagulation cascade and vasoconstriction of vessels due to release of thromboxane A2. Platelet are activated, which causes formation of immature platelet plug on the site of bleeding. The damaged vessel expose the collagen, which lead to deposition of fibrin and stabilization of clot. The other system which is activated in hypovolemic shock is cardiovascular system. Here there is increase in heart rate, myocardial contractility is increased and vasoconstriction of the vessel. So it occurs secondary to increase in release of norepinephrine and decrease of baseline vagal tone. Cardiovascular system respond by redistribution of blood to the vital organ of body like brain, heart and kidney, and blood move away from the non-vital organs like skin, muscle and GI tract. Renal system is also activated. There is activation of renin-angiotensin mechanism. So due to activation of this system, angiotensinogen is converted into angiotensin 1 and 1 is converted into angiotensin 2. Angiotensin 2 has main two effects. It causes reversal of hypovolemic shock by vasoconstriction of smooth muscle of arteriole, and stimulation of aldosterone secretion. In neuroendocrine system, there is increase in release of antidiuretic hormone. It released from the posterior pituitary gland in response to decreased blood pressure and decreased sodium concentration. So once ADH is released, it indirectly lead to reversal of the shock by increasing in reabsorption of water and salt by distal tubule, collecting duct, and loop of Henle. Cardiogenic shock is characterized by decreased pumping ability of the heart, causing a shock-like state with inadequate perfusion to the tissue. It occurs most commonly in association with ischemic damage to the myocardium. Etiology of cardiogenic shock are cardiomyopathy, pulmonary embolism, myocardial infarction, arrhythmia, heart disease, aortic aneurysm, cardiac tamponade, and cardiac contusion. So, intrinsic causes are myocardial injury or valvular defect. Extrinsic causes are pericardial tamponade, tension pneumothorax, or large pulmonary embolism. On physical examination, patient comes with acute myocardial infarction like signs and symptoms. The extremities are frank. There is diaphoretic and complaining of shortness of breath and chest pain. Clinical assessment begins with examination of vital signs. On neck examination, jugular veins are distended and right ventricular failure signs are prominent. With increasing degree of ventricular dysfunction, pulmonary edema and severe hypotension may develop. On auscultation, varying degree of congestive cardiac failure seen. Careful attention is required toward the cardiac examination in cardiogenic shock because there are certain mechanical causes which are readily find out by surgical intervention, and without this the mortality is high. These causes are papillary rupture, valvular dysfunction, myocardial wall or septal rupture, cardiac tamponade, or aortic aneurysm. So in this case, surgical intervention are required. On auscultation, loud murmur may indicate valvular dysfunction, while muffled heart tone with jugular venous distension and pulsus paradoxus may suggest cardiac tamponade. Type of vasogenic shock are septic shock, toxic shock, neurogenic shock, or psychogenic shock. In neurogenic shock, there is failure of the nervous system to control diameter of the vessels. So actually there is no blood loss but pooling of blood in the lower extremities. Classical sign of shock may not be present. In septic shock, the mortality rate is high. It ranks first among the cause of death in ICU patient. It accounts for more than 2 lakh deaths annually in United States. And septic shock results from host innate immune response to infectious organism, particularly gram-negative bacilli. So it is also called as endotoxic shock. Endotoxins are bacterial wall lipopolysaccharide, consist of toxic fatty acid, which is common to all gram-negative bacteria, and complex polysaccharide coat. These LPS attach to this LPS binding protein and form a complex. This complex then bind to the specific receptor CD14 on monocyte, macrophage, and neutrophils. With moderate to severe infection, high level of LPS are there, which lead to release of cytokines, like for example nitric oxide and platelet activating factor. They are very significant, which lead to the systemic effect like fever, increased synthesis of acute phase reactant, increased production of circulatory neutrophils, and so there is activation of procoagulant phenotype. A procoagulant state is there. There is systemic vasodilatation, diminished myocardial contractility, widespread endothelial injury and activation, causing systemic leukocyte adhesion and diffuse alveolar capillary damage in the lung. Activation of coagulation system is there, which may lead to DIC. Hypoperfusion resulting from the combined effect of vasodilatation, pump failure, and DIC cause multi-organ system failure. and which affect the vital organ like liver, kidneys and CNS. Unless the underlying infection is treated, the patient usually dies in septic shock. Next one is the anaphylactic shock. It is caused by hypersensitivity reaction to allergen in a previously sensitized patient. Common allergens are nuts, bee, wasp sting or drugs. Common feature of anaphylactic shock are angioedema, bronchoconstriction, vasodilatation and hypotension, urticarial rash. This is the photograph of angioedema. On the left side we can see that lips are swollen. On the right side inflammatory reaction are there. Vocal cord epiglottis and glottis, they are swollen. Which are the stages of shock? The first one is initial or non-progressive phase, second is progressive stage and third is irreversible stage. In the first stage, that is non-progressive, here compensatory mechanism are activated and perfusion of vital organs is maintained. In progressive stage, tissue hypoperfusion and onset of worsening circulatory and metabolic disturbances lead to acidosis. The last is irreversible stage. Name itself suggests that it is irreversible. So even after the hemodynamic defect are corrected, cellular and tissue injury are very severe and they are irreversible. So survival is not possible in majority of the cases. So in non-progressive early phase, that is first phase, initially all the mechanism are activated like neurohumoral mechanism. It maintains the cardiac output and blood pressure. Baroreceptor reflex and catecholamine release are there. There is activation of renin-angiotensin system, release of antidiuretic hormone and generalized sympathetic stimulation. Clinical features are tachycardia and there is renal conservation of fluid. Cutaneous vasoconstriction lead to coolness and pallor of skin in well-developed shock, while in septic shock there is cutaneous vasodilatation, so patient present with warm and flushed skin. Coronary and cerebral vessels are less sensitive to compensatory sympathetic response and so they maintain the normal caliber blood flow and oxygen delivery to vital organs. In progressive phase, there is widespread hypoxia and aerobic respiration is reduced. There is activation of anaerobic glycolysis and excess production of lactic acid. So the acidosis is there, lactic acidosis, pH is decreased and there is vasomotor response, dilatation of arteriole and blood begin to pool in the microcirculation. Peripheral pooling not only worsens the cardiac output but it also causes anoxic injury to endothelial cell. So as the stage progresses, there is widespread tissue hypoxia and vital organs are affected. So in the last or irreversible stage, vital organs are affected, widespread tissue injury, lysosomal enzyme leakage and there is aggravation of the shock state. Myocardial contractile function is worsened because of the nitric oxide synthesis. If ischemic boil allows the intestinal flora to enter the circulation, then endotoxic shock is superimposed and there is complete renal shutdown. So the patient may come with anuria or decreased urine output and there is acidosis and severe fluid and electrolyte imbalance. So pathology of shock, there is multiple organ failure, subendocardial hemorrhage. In kidney there is acute tubular necrosis. In lung, diffuse alveolar damage or shock lung is there. In GI tract, mucosal hemorrhages are seen. In liver, hepatocytes are necrosed and it may lead to activation of coagulatory system. Procoagulant state is there and lead to DIC, that is disseminated intravascular coagulation. We will discuss all this pathology one by one. At cellular and tissue level, the main lesions are mainly due to the hypoxia and hypoperfusion. Failure of many organ system, particularly vital organ like brain, heart, kidney, adrenal glands and GIT. In renal glomeruli and other vital tissue, there is fibrin thrombi. This is the microscopic appearance in lung. It is acute respiratory distress syndrome or diffuse alveolar damage. It is also called as shock lung. Here we can see that alveoli are damaged and the wall are thickened. There is deposition of hyaline, so there is formation of hyaline membrane. So it is also called as hyaline membrane disease. Aggregate of chronic inflammatory cells and macrophages are there. Next is myocardial necrosis. Ischemic coagulative necrosis of myocardium is seen along with acute inflammatory cells. This is the slide of acute tubular necrosis. We can see the presence of glomeruli. Here all the tubules or majority of the tubules are necrosed, which lead to decreased urine output or anuria. In adrenal glands, cortical cell lipid depletion are there. It is mainly because of the conversion of inactive acylated cell to metabolic active cell, which used for synthesis of steroid. Kidney, there is acute tubular necrosis. GI tract, we have already discussed, it leads to mucosal hemorrhage and necrosis. In lungs, it causes diffuse alveolar damage. It is also called as shock lung. With the exception of neuronal and myocyte ischemic loss, virtually all tissue may revert back to normal if the patient survives. That means neuronal or CNS and heart, these injury are irreversible. Other non-vital tissue may revert back to normal if the treatment started in time. Unfortunately, most patients with irreversible changes due to severe shock die before the tissue can recover. In the clinical course, hypovolemic and cardiogenic shock, the prognosis is good if the treatment started earlier. So patient present with weak rapid pulse, tachypnea and cold clammy cyanotic skin. In septic shock, the skin may be warm and flushed as a result of peripheral vasodilatation. Prognosis varies with the origin of shock, duration of shock and type of shock. In hypovolemic shock, majority of the patient recover with appropriate management, while in cardiogenic shock associated with extensive myocardial infarction or gram-negative sepsis, mortality rate is very high. These are the symptoms of shock. General symptoms are anxiety, dizziness, weakness, faintness, nausea, vomiting, thirst, confusion or decreased urine output. Specific symptoms are history of trauma or other illness, vomiting or diarrhea in case of hypovolemic shock, chest pain in case of cardiogenic shock, fever, rigor in case of septic shock, shortness of breath. These are the signs of shock. Patient present with pale, cold, clammy skin, sweating, cyanosis, tachypnea and tachycardia, confused and agitated mind. Patient may come in unconscious state, hypotensive, stridor may be there. Pathophysiological response, also called as flight or fight response. It is due to increased catecholamine release, activation of renin-angiotensin system, increased glucocorticoid and mineralocorticoid release, activation of sympathetic nervous system. Thank you.